Glass wine?
Sure. Where should I sit?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
Sit at my computer. So the whole idea with customer service here, you guys, that's what your job is essentially. We want to make people feel special. This is sort of a mini vacation for some people. You know, they come out to the winery and it's a chance to get away and be out here. So we want to treat people that way and make them feel like it's a day out. You know, we get all kinds of people, groups of people, people on first dates, couples, friends, you name it, we get it. And we just want them to have a good experience while they're here, and they're going to remember that and they're going to come back. Okay. The whole thing about wine too, I think we all know this because everybody's here is pretty experienced wine person. Basically, you know, wine can be a really intimidating thing. And, you know, it's such a, you know, we talk about wine, you know, Colin's the winemaker. We're around it on a day-to-day basis. You guys pour in tasting rooms, work in the wine industry. You know, it can be kind of an intimidating thing. And we don't want people to be intimidated. We want people to have fun with it. So a little bit of knowledge goes a long way, but how that knowledge is presented, I think, is really important. You know, present it, read your person, and present it in a way that's fun and intimidating. And again, I don't mean to kind of pick on Napa, but I'm going to pick on Napa in that we don't want the attitude of like you go there and know you're not worthy kind of attitude. That's not what this is about. You know, most people that come in here maybe know a little bit about something, but they don't know a ton. And our job is to provide them a good experience and educate them and kind of read where they are and gather from them what they want from the experience and then give that back to them. A couple really specific things about dealing with people in the tasting room. Good idea to always greet people right when they first walk in, right? You know, maybe 10, 15 seconds. You'll notice that here in particular there's a small tasting bar and it's a small tasting room. So we don't have the ability to line 50 people up down the tasting bar with 40 volunteers. It's pretty much, you know, 2-3 people working the tasting bar in a small space. So people are going to walk in if it's crowded, try to at least greet them, get them some glasses, move people around in a way that we can get to them, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you know, quick greeting, it's always a good thing. I like to break down the types of people that come into the winery in 3 groups, and that's essentially what this is. And I sort of summarize this as wine, dog, and nada. And what I mean by that is that people pretty much come in those 3 categories. They either want to talk about wine, all right, so you talk about the wine. They want, when I say dog, what I mean by that is they want to talk about their dog, or their kids, or their job, or where they're from, or football, or whatever. And then some people don't want to really talk at all. You know, it's, I'll call that the first date phenomena, right? You get the young couple, they come in and they just want, you know, here's our '08 Cabernet, you pour it, you step aside. You'll see people will kind of migrate from one group to the other during the experience, but I think that pretty much summarizes the 3 groups of who comes into a winery. So it's really important to actually read what group they fall into and then kind of give them that experience. So they may come in and they want to talk about their dog, and then at a certain point they really like a wine and then they want to start talking about the wine. So they move into that group. But the idea is that one of those 3 things is kind of your hint for how they want to be treated, and treat them that way. And if they do want to move into a different situation or start talking about the wine, or if they don't talk and they want to start talking about their dog, just kind of read it and be ready to handle that. One of the things that's really, really important in wine sales that's been borne out by a lot of actual tasting room research is if you're too deep, meaning, you know, TWO deep, your back, your ability to close a sale is actually greatly hindered. And since we have a small tasting bar here at Nottingham Cellars, it's really important to try and avoid people being too deep. Now, easier said than done, but there's a couple of tricks that might work. One is that we do have this barrel table area here in the back. We're generally reserving that for wine club members, but if you have some wine club members come in and it's crowded, or we have groups that come in, we can take them back here and we just, you know, one person can kind of pop back here and pour for them. That's a nice thing. Kind of hard to see at the moment, but we have some barrel tables out there in the tasting room. Can always urge people to go sit down and step out and pour for them there. And at the very least, step around the tasting bar and go pour for people. You're always going to get people that are going to be the bar hanger and they're going to lean on the bar. You know, if they're comfortable where they are, that's fine. If you can kind of get them in a polite way to migrate so other people can come up to the tasting bar, that's really good. But just be mindful of the fact that when we are crowded, it can be a full house. Maybe one person stays behind the tasting bar and one person kind of works the room a little bit. not, and whatever you're comfortable with. But again, try and avoid too deep, or those that are behind you're making contact with and making, personal contact with. Always be outgoing. We want you guys to share your personality. Everybody that I know that's here is a good person and a fun person, and those of you that I don't know strike me that way already. So share your personality. It's about your personal experience here, and that's what we want. We don't want you to be. You're not the maitre d' in the fine dining restaurant. We want you to share your personality. And that's a distinct difference that's actually worth mentioning, is that a lot of people liken the tasting room experience to a restaurant experience, and I think that works to a certain degree, but I actually don't think that works entirely, because the idea with the food server is the food server is going to come up to the table, get you kind of deal with your immediate needs, and then move on. And that's what people want when they're at a restaurant. When we're at a tasting room, most people, unless they're in that NADA group, they want to talk. And they want your personality, and they want the experience, and they want to learn about the wine. So share it, share your personality and share your experience and why you're here and what you like about wine and the fact that